Ahoy mateys, my name is Cullen and this is my 1978 Chris Craft Corinthian. I have 3 days to do whatever I want to on this boat because it is Labor Day weekend right now. I don't have to be at work until like noon on Tuesday. This is gonna be so much fun. So the first thing I have to do is just get it ready to take off. I gotta take off the windshield covers, the control covers, the bench seat covers, all that stuff. I'm gonna move my plants to the back where they're not gonna get battered by all the wind. And then I'm gonna start up the engines, let them run for a couple minutes, and then cast off. And we're gonna find a place to drop anchor. And from there, I have zero plans. I have enough supplies to last long enough, maybe even a little bit longer. We're just gonna see where the river takes us. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I want you along for the ride. Let's go. It looks like it might be kind of close from the outside of the covered dock to the top of my boat. I can give us a couple inches more clearance if I fold back this front section. Well, this has happened before. I actually can't fold it down because of these ribs, but once I get going, if I remember to do it right, it should work. I just have to balance controlling the boat with controlling the top. And ta-da! Just enough space. Kind of crazy to imagine how I would have dealt with that way back when I knew nothing about boats. But here I am, and I'm confident enough to do it. And just like that, we are smooth sailing, cruising. It's a little bit sweaty, you might have noticed. It is 90 degrees outside, so that's gonna be obstacle one that we're gonna have to overcome this weekend, is the heat. Because Florida is hot. And this boat does have plenty of air conditioning, but it only works on 120 volts AC. So if I wanna use the air conditioning, I'll have to run the generator, which is probably the thing that I trust least on the boat because I don't know how fuel efficient it is. I don't know how much gas can be burning by doing that. But I have a feeling I can get through this entire weekend without using the air conditioning. I'll just have to be careful with how I moderate my body's temperature. It's gonna be just like camping. It's gonna be fun. We are home free wherever we wanna go. Now we have to decide where that is. So I have my favorite place to drop anchor is just over there. I know the bottom is soft enough to dig in with the anchor, but hard enough to where I'm not gonna slip overnight. And it's close enough to shore where if something happens, I could swim if I had to. But I think we're gonna go a little bit south of that this time. We're gonna check out, see what's down here, because I want to see what is around the Navy base. Every chance to be out on the water is just so amazing. It never gets any less cool. It is just chewing through the waves. It's so happy. I'm so happy. This is gonna be a good weekend. 1800 RPM. Let's see how fast that gets us. About 9.5 knots, or that's miles per hour, excuse me. About 9.5 miles per hour at 1800 RPM, which is not bad. So 9.5 to 10.5 is gonna be our cruising speed, which means that's where the water actually pushes us forward a little bit. That's where the waves are in sync from the bow, pushing the back of the boat forward, and you use less energy to go the same speed. So we are coming up to my favorite anchorage spot, marked in orange there, and I think we're going to just pass it and see what's closer down here. So I've just decided what my plan is. We have passed our familiar little zone where I've dropped anchor several times. I'm gonna cut across the river, across the channel, and we're just gonna go across to the other bank and drop anchor somewhere around here. I'm happy, the boat is happy right now, and we still got plenty of time until sunset. So as long as I can make it to where I'm going across the river, drop anchor, and get comfortable in time, then we'll be good to go, and we can maybe even go further tomorrow. Wouldn't that be awesome? Alright, we have been cruising for probably about 30-40 minutes at this point. Most of it was just straight ahead. I was dodging a couple of crab traps, but really nothing that exciting. But we're starting to get up closer to the area that I want to dock. So Navionics, the app that has all my charts on it, said there was a private sailboat regatta dinghy somewhere around here. So I wanted to stay away from that in case they wanted to do some kind of event this weekend. But I don't see anything. So it looks like pretty much wherever I want to drop anchor, I can. So I'm going to try to get a little bit closer to that coast over there. We're at about 6 feet of depth right now, plus 3 for my draft. So we're about 9 feet from the surface of the water, which that's pretty good. That means I don't have to put that much chain out. General advice is to put at least 5 to 7 times the depth of the water out in chain if you're going to have a secure anchorage. Let's get a little bit closer, and then I'm going to start to drop the anchor and see what happens. All right. So laying down anchor solo can be tricky, especially without a windlass. But I've learned some tricks and tips that can be helpful. So what I'm doing is I'm laying down a long length of chain before I even drop the anchor. Because if this drops, latches, and then I have to somehow tie it off while it's pulling the entire boat backwards, that's bad. So you'll see what I do with this extra length of chain in a couple of seconds. I'm constantly looking around. There's nothing in my way. We are looking good. The boat's basically stationary right now, which would be perfect time to drop the anchor. Got a couple more lines left. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times 5 is 60 feet of chain. This is about 8 feet deep. So that's perfectly within our 5 to 7 times the depth for length of our chain. So now I tie a loop of chain around here from the chain end, not the locker end. That way I can actually get it off when it's under tension. And now I can start to let the anchor down while the boat is barely moving. And make sure you stay well away from that chain as it comes out. Bing! Perfect. All right. That should be about 55, 60 feet of chain out. I'm gonna lock this in just for extra security, and so we can get this off if we actually have to. But we have double security here, and this chain around here is kind of loose, so if we need to loosen up the chain, shouldn't be that difficult. Pull in reverse a little bit just to set things up. What we want the anchor to do is grab in, just like that. Perfect. I could not have asked for a better grab. Man, that's something of beauty. I'm gonna shut down these engines, and we're anchored. And after the anchor is set, I have this anchor alarm on my phone that will sound off a really loud alarm if I leave the circle that I set. So right now it's set for 30 meters. If I drift outside of 30 meters, it'll tell me. And I'll know I need to reset the anchor or else hit land, which would not be good. Oh no, this lens does not focus well, and those planes are so fast. If you look at that foggy area way down there, that's where we came from. And that is not fog, that is rain. So it's raining at home, but it's not raining on the boat right now. Who knows if it will? Either way, it's really cool to be far enough where we're in different biomes. So unfortunately, I don't have any live bait, but I do have some human food. I want to go fishing with that. I'm going to try to see if anything wants to eat them off of my hook. And I doubt anything's going to come up. But if it does, then it does. Also, I just installed this little rod holder here. It's a little bit too deep, honestly, so I need a longer rod. But it's super nice stainless steel, and I sealed it all up with marine grade silicone. and we should be good to go with that. Nothing's gonna pull that out. But the most important thing to do before the sun goes down is to install an anchor light, at least temporarily. Because that's one thing that this boat does not have, is a permanent anchor light. Maybe that's something I can fix this weekend on the water, who knows? It has the switches on the upper and lower helms, but it just doesn't have an anchor light. So what I've done in the past is I've just hooked this anchor light up to a car battery and let it run overnight. So this shines in 360 degrees and lets people know that, hey, I'm here, even when it's pitch black, don't run into me. Let's see if it works. Wait, hold on. There, yeah. All right. And one final thing that I need to do before it gets too late is just start grilling some food. So this grill is gonna be my best friend for the next 3 days, because this is the only cooking method I have that does not use electricity. So I have plenty of gas canisters ready. Just hook one up, fire it up, and let it warm. And let's check on our plants. Let's see how they did for the ride. I don't know, they've been doing really well for a really long time. Cayennes, I just got a really good harvest from those cayenne peppers. Ghost peppers, these don't have too much fruit, but when they do, it is crazy hot, so totally worth having. And our bell pepper, which has been fairly fruitful, but with really small fruits. So there's one right there and one right there, and this is harvest like number 3 for the season. So who knows, maybe, they're not quite ripe yet, but maybe in a couple days they will be, and we can actually eat one of these on anchor. How fun would that be? And I just put all these little hot dogs on here. These are just like pre-cooked hot dog things, nothing special. So this was just a real quick first dinner out on the water, because we've got a lot more meals to come. Very last meal on the boat, maybe one before, I am going to have filet mignon on this grill in the middle of the water after 3 days at anchor. How awesome is that going to be? So as the sun goes down, this is a good time to talk about the 2 other limiting factors of this trip. So we already talked about the heat. It's got to be at least 85 right now. I've got no fans, no AC, no nothing inside, but that's fine. It'll cool down to maybe about 75 tonight, and that'll be good enough. Second limiting factor is going to be electricity. Chris Craft built amazing boats, and this one is no exception, but their electrical systems leave something to be desired. I have to be very careful with what lights I leave on, which ones I turn off, and exactly how I manage electricity. Also with that comes camera batteries and laptop batteries and phone batteries and stuff that I really need to stay working. But that is obstacle number 2. Obstacle number 3 is going to be refrigeration, because my refrigerator that I have in my galley is just a normal residential refrigerator, which means it only runs on 120 volts, which means that I would need the generator to be on if that was going to be cooling. So for the time being, I've just taken everything out of the refrigerator that could spoil, and I've put it into a cooler with 3 bags of ice, and we're going to hope. That's a really good cooler. As long as I don't open it too much, it should be fine. And those are the 3 things that we need to keep balanced to keep this trip afloat. Holy shit, I caught a fish. What are you, bro? What are you? I don't know. I have ice. I'm gonna put you in a bag and I'm gonna put you on ice. Okay.